Hey everybody, today we are going to discuss eddies, catching eddies, getting out of eddies. The primary focus will be getting into the eddies today, and this is a vital skill. It helps you break the rapids down from just one continual long stretch of chaos sometimes into just very small manageable pieces of a rapid itself. So to start off the bat, I'm going to catch what we kind of call a rock star eddy, especially for a newcomer to this skill here. But I'm going to pick a very small boat wide eddy in the middle of the river. There it is. I'm going to just come in here and slam right into it. There you go. I'm in the eddy. I'm not moving. Everything's under control. And then here we'll break it down. I got the approach angle. Then I'm looking at my speed coming in. Don't want to go too fast or too slow. And then I want a downside stroke and then edge the boat. And then grab that eddy with the other paddle, the other side, and pull yourself right in. It's as simple as that and as hard as that. And we'll do several more, and I'll show you some tips and some things not to do as we make our way down the river here. Now, before I get too far, you have to know what an eddy is, and that's anywhere where there's an obstruction or barrier that doesn't let the water flow downstream. And what will happen is the water will flow around this object, and then right behind the object will be a pocket of water that doesn't flow. And even some of these little rapids, you can see there's areas where the current isn't as fast, and those are moving eddies, but they're still eddies. And I'm coming down through here. Behind that big rock there on my left, there's going to be an eddy. Behind any obstacle that sticks out of the water, there'll be an eddy. Now, there's kind of an eddy pocket here, but it's mostly because of a ledge pour over. So there's an active rapid happening, but I'm still in a pocket that forms basically an eddy in the river. You can see I'm coming in another pocket about right here. And so there's a lot less water here. And then I'm going to show you edging. And edging is lifting the boat edge towards the upstream side. So right now I'm lifting my left hip a little bit, lifting my left knee in the water, and I'm letting the water pass under the boat. And I'm doing a little surfing here just to kind of show you what edging is. No matter which side of the boat is upstream, you let the water pass under that by lifting that edge up. If I lean forward, my boat goes into water. So, even leaning back, leaning forward if you're facing backwards, whatever you have to do. And this is just another very dangerous spot I wanted to point out. All the water coming under that log, very little going over. That's a death trap. Do not get near things like that. Go around them. And here I'm coming through this rapid. Not a lot of eddy potential here. And this is what most rapids have looked to you guys who don't know much about eddying. Every rapid looks like this. It's just one big jamble of water coming down the river. And there's nothing to do but keep your nose pointed straight and keep going. And that's fine. A lot of people do that. But learning how to catch eddies is going to open up a whole lot of river to you and a lot of possibilities. So I'm going to try to catch this one. My angle's coming in. I'm going to shoot right to the right of that rock. And about now, offside stroke, lean the boat left, dig my paddle in, grab the eddy in one little stroke, and I'm in. Here we are once more in real time, the same eddy I just caught. You can see I string the pieces together here. Stroke, lean, stroke. And then we move off down the river. And doing so in front of a big rapid will give you a chance to scout a rapid, if you will.
Well, here we are on the haul. Got the water running pretty good today, and we're just having a little fun. I'm trying out my new boat. New to me, but fun. Nice day, good water temperature. Air temperature's great. The water's up, which is pretty good for this river. Nothing spectacular, but hey, beats sitting at the house. Let me turn this thing around. We'll run this rapid.
Okay, so I've got my eye on the prize. You'll see it in a minute. But there's an eddy on the far side of the river. So what I'm going to do is point my boat upstream right about now. So my boat's pointed actually upstream. My head is looking at the eddy. And I'm ferrying across the river, and I'm going to try to dip into that little eddy right there. And you can see that well-formed pocket right there. So on either side of the eddy is an eddy line. So right there in front of my boat, that's an eddy line. I'm looking downstream. Now on this next one, I'm going to show you improper entry to an eddy and improper exit. Now the entry I'm going to bungle on purpose by placing an offside stroke too late. And so what I'm going to do is, normally coming into an eddy on the left, I would stroke right as I enter the eddy, but this time I stroke left. And I'll show you the freeze frame. Everything's looking okay. I'm on the wrong side of the boat with my paddle. So that little difference shoots me way further down in the eddy. I still catch the eddy, but much further away from the beginning of the pocket. And in different eddies, this can cause you to miss. Now on the exit, my boat angle is too far upstream, and you see I bounce off the eddy line there. Right there at my nose is the eddy line, and I bounce back off that back into the pocket. This is your turbulent water. That's your danger zone right there on that eddy line. This time I'll do it correctly. Much more angle downstream, about like that. Leaning to the left. Let that water under your boat, and out into the current I go. And keep that lean. And this next eddy is kind of a next level from what I've been catching. If you're good and comfortable with catching some of those other ones, take it up to something of about this caliber, and it'll happen for you a lot faster because there's a lot more energy in the water. So if you do it right, it's going to work really good. If you do it wrong, it's not. It's all about the timing. Stroke, lean, grab in the eddy. Nice and smooth. Now on this exit, I'm just going to lean downstream, and instead of paddling, I'm going to put my paddle in there and act like a sail on the green water, as you call it. So paddle's in the water. I hold that paddle there and catch current, and just hold it, and it'll pull me into the current. And there you go. So it's not a solid stroke where you're moving your paddle. Sometimes keeping your paddle in the water and letting the current pull on it is just as or more effective. Now we're coming up on another eddy. You guessed it. Now this one is a much less dynamic eddy, so as you can see, there's much less effort and lean. There's not as much lean. It's a really well-defined pocket. So the eddy itself is going to determine how dynamic your actions have to be, and you got to match the energy the water has. So if it's a really hard eddy line, massive current hitting a big wall of dead moving water, or water going the other direction, which is called a hard eddy, you're going to have to do all this much more pronounced and much faster. But little eddies like this, not so much. Just do the right technique and the right timing, and you'll pop right into any of them. This one here is shallow on the entry, so you kind of have to wait, and you can see it's just much less dynamic than some of the others I've been doing. But all the principles still apply. And catching 2-3 eddies leading up to a little feature like this allows you to scout, and here I am. Okay, I decided to go right there. Sitting in this pocket has allowed me to study the rapid, and I see the water is flowing out of that little waterfall right about where I was pointing, so that's where I'm going to shoot for it. If you don't do these eddies, you're going to have to make a whole bunch of decisions really quickly, from the beginning to the end of any long stretch of rapids. Being able to catch eddies is very important to help break down this decision-making process into something a lot more manageable. And you can do them on the bank. You can do them anywhere. Just find a rock, you see it, there's an eddy waiting to be your friend. You go introduce yourself. Another consideration is your style of boat. And here I'm in a play boat, which is meant to surf and, do tricks and stuff in waves, make the most of the rapids you have. So it's also the most maneuverable kayak out there, this style of kayak. So if you're in like a longer boat, a recreation boat, a fishing kayak, you really don't have the option to catch some of the eddies I'm catching today in this boat. But you just need to look for bigger eddies and start practicing your skills. But if you're looking to take your kayaking up a level or two into what kind of water you can get into, and I've seen this a lot through the years, people get a boat and they realize how much fun the rapids are, and then they try to get into a little bit more white water in their wreck boat, it's just not a good pairing. You need a skirted boat with a lot of maneuverability and zero keel, short length. And here you see me gonna catch an eddy. And you're probably wondering why I didn't catch any of those eddies. So after a day of catching eddies, I go through a rapid and didn't catch one. It seemed odd to you, I hope. When you look back up, you can see that massive eddy pocket. It would have been an easy one to catch. Oh, but I'll catch this one instead. Same principle applies to all of them. Just timing, speed, your angle. Offside stroke right when your nose gets to the edge of the eddy. Lean that boat, and then put that stroke in there to grab the water in the eddy, and you're in. So you should be able to see the ease at which I just maneuver this kayak in and around this river, coming in and out of any feature I want, any eddy I want. Basically, I can go anywhere on this river with this kayak without feeling out of control. That's the difference between a kayak made for whitewater and a kayak that's not made for whitewater. So if you're trying to get into some whitewater and you're having some difficulty, you flip a lot, you got this boat just doesn't want to agree with the situation, it might not be all you, so don't get discouraged. You might need to step it up into a new boat. And I would not suggest a play boat to start. I would go with a creek boat. And there I was pointing to a better place to enter that eddy. But a whitewater boat is going to allow you to go to the next level in your kayaking safely and efficiently. Otherwise, you're going to still have fun possibly, but you're going to be a lot more wet, and you're going to do a lot more swimming, and you're going to do a lot more draining your boat.
That was fun. Caught a couple little eddies. Got another little bit of white water coming up. But if you learn how to take this skill set and just kind of break up the rapid, you can not look at a 200-yard stretch of rapids. You could look at 15 yards here, 10 yards there, 5 feet, whatever it takes, and get down that a lot more controlled. So you saw it out there, how I kind of broke that rapid up a few little times. There's not a whole lot you can do with it. The more intense a river becomes, and the more canalized the water is with rocks, you can catch a lot more pronounced eddies and kind of eddy hop one to the other. That's pretty much, for the most part, continual flow, but there's always something to catch. If you'll practice doing this, it's going to make you a much better paddler. Let's turn around and catch some rapids.
Here's a clip from my recent trip on the Tellico, about a 6-foot ledge. You land and then you turn around and get your bearings. So my buddy Kevin in that little green boat is sitting in that eddy, and that's where I'm going. So you can see all the principles at play here. And that's a much more dynamic, much more constricted river when you compare it to something like this. But the principles still apply. You practice on something like that, you'll be able to go up to the next level. In this clip, I was intending to follow Kevin off this 12-foot waterfall for some footage and expected him to go left. And then he shoots to the right. And down below, the normal place to be is left, not right. So not knowing where he was and what his state of being was under there, I didn't want to land on him. Made a snap decision to get into that eddy to the right last second. And that happened just feet above this waterfall on a last-minute decision. And now I can go over in a safe manner. So as you can see, it's a vital skill that you're going to need to have. So you may not be at a waterfall, but you can still practice. Right there. Nothing to it.
Thanks for watching.